Our next speaker, Hillary Pejos, is here to share her experience completing her very first Toastmasters pathway. Her story offers hope that there is truly a light at the end of the tunnel and serves as a reminder that you can get there too, as long as you keep showing up and sticking in it. Stick in with it. Today, Hillary will reflect on some aspects of finishing her journey, highlighting the growth, surprises, and even the humor she found along the way. Delivering her final speech in the innovative planning pathway, Hillary will be presenting for 10 to 12 minutes. Please help me welcome Hillary Pejos. Speak up now, pet bears later. Speak up now, pet bears later, Hillary Pejos.
8 years ago, I walked into my first Toastmasters meeting. Not out of ambition. I didn't have a job. I was on unemployment, and it counts for professional development credit. I showed up for the credit, but I stayed for the growth. I thought it'd be pretty simple. Just learning to talk better at work. Maybe someday I'd give a toast somewhere and it wouldn't bomb. And I did. I gave my own welcome speech at the reception of my wedding, and it didn't go half bad. But what I didn't know was that I had signed up to continually exercise my tenacity, to repeatedly set intention for my message and the structure I needed for my thoughts to get them to the audience in a manner they needed to receive. It got me skills that would set me apart from my peers. Usually when a woman commits to something for 9 months, she ends up with a baby. I spent 9 months preparing my Icebreaker speech.
Wow.
I had to write it word for word. And then as soon as I got something down and something out on paper, something in my situation would change. And then I'd have to rewrite the paperwork, because I could not come up here and tell a story about myself in the present moment without it being the truth of what my present moment was. Even though something had changed, I couldn't tell the story that way. It just didn't seem right. So back to the drawing board. It's not comfortable for me to write. It's actually kind of I call it a challenge to get my abstract thoughts onto paper. But I kept at it. And after 9 months, instead of having a baby, I delivered was an awkward, sweaty speech. And this was also around the time when the pathways got released. So the Confident Communicator was a hard copy pamphlet that you received when you joined Toastmasters, and that's how you tracked all your speeches. And then Pathways was released, and I was the first person in our club to give their first Pathway speech, which was my Icebreaker. But when I finally gave it, it was more than just a speech. It was proof to myself that I could do something hard and finish. Then after that initial barrier is down, then you get to start having fun. Just start writing speeches about experiences you've had or things you want to learn about. I wrote one about garden pests because that was the season, and I wanted to know my enemy. The feedback from that speech, though, was like it was great technical information, but where was the story? Where was my connection to these bugs? I just told you about them, where they like to live and their scientific name, but why were they a problem to me? Why were they worth talking about? And so that goes on to where you get into the storytelling, where I had a speech where I took the club on a hypnotic storytelling journey to a beach in Costa Rica, where you could smell the ocean, the salt water, you can hear the birds chattering, the monkeys going around you, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and just got to share that kind of experience with my club. One of my favorite speeches to give was my eulogy. Gave my own eulogy. This exercise, where I took the age I was when I gave the speech, gave my death date at twice that age. So then if at that point, when I gave that speech, I had only lived half my life, and when you look back at that and you realize how much you have accomplished in that amount of time, and then you just double it again, think of what you can do. You're not even wasting the first 12 years on puberty. And so I wrote the first part of the eulogy in true context of my experience, but then I got to do a vivid vision of what I wanted my eulogy to be for the second half. The experiences I wanted to have, financial freedom that I gained, mentoring, learning, changing the world. It was fun. My favorite part about that speech, though, was how I died. I was mauled by a bear.
Oh.
Because I, of course, am going to die petting something I shouldn't. But these are the speeches in Toastmasters that let you really create and find out what you're interested in and what you care to share with the world. Then it gets harder. Then the speeches transition into not just something you've done or want to learn about, but it's about going and having an experience and then reporting on that experience. So then you've got things such as completing an online meeting, where for my assignment, all my skills in Toastmasters have prepared me to facilitate meetings at work. So once a week, I'd get together with my peers where we would discuss in just an open forum of procedural questions and concerns, tips and tricks on the software, just a variety of things. We never ran out of things to talk about. And we really learned to grow together, growing social capital, starting with an icebreaker, not a lame one, not what would you be, what did you think you'd be when you grew up? No, I would have fun with it, connect it to a holiday, because every day is actually a holiday. Some of them are really lame, but you can still get some good questions. If it's about Beekeeper's Day, you can ask people if they've ever been to a bee farm. You'll find out who is allergic to bees or whose grandparents had bees. And then you'll find out how much you've got in common with your coworkers compared to the noticeable difference that we by default will observe. But with these meetings, I knew how it felt to do them at work, but the opportunity for me to record the meeting and then present it to a Toastmaster for evaluation was super cool. And even though it was we'll call it a technical meeting, I wanted to know how the energy of it went. And that's what my evaluation was. That, not quite within the realm of knowing where that technical conversation was going, but the feedback was that the other members in the meeting stayed engaged throughout, and this meeting was over an hour. And to me, that was the best compliment I could have ever received, is that they kept interacting. And yeah, I don't even notice that, but to get that outside perspective for something so personal really paid its weight in gold. Over the years, I skipped a bunch of things and still can't get through my notes as I go through these speeches over and over. But one of the later speeches, when it comes to these later speeches, the key is you have to want the assignment to go after it. It's a commitment to get involved with these higher level projects. And I would just find the things that interested me and what I wanted to pursue and learn about, and just kept pushing through because Toastmaster provides a nice structure to learn about these things that I would otherwise be kind of left on my own. It's taken me 8 years to complete this path. That averages about 2 speeches a year. That's not record-breaking pace. Part of me feels a little disappointed by that. I could have organized myself better. I could have had better notes, gotten my evaluation and my intro submitted, before I gave the speech, because that doesn't always happen. I did today. But after 15 speeches, 3 different clubs, it may have been slow, but I continued to move forward. What's next is I'm going to continue, pick another pathway, keep engaging as a Toastmaster officer. Maybe I'll go for my DTM. And continue to feel all the benefits from the experience and skills I gained from being here. To run meetings, social and constructive, and DTM. But more importantly, I want to keep building a life that is interesting enough to stand up here and talk about. So if you're wondering if it's worth it, the writing, the rewriting, sweaty palms, awkward blank moments, it absolutely is. Because one day you realize you didn't just learn to speak up. You learned how to show up, to stand up, to speak up for the life you actually want. So stay, participate, and let Toastmasters change you one awkward, wonderful speech at a time.
Thank you, Hillary. I love listening to my mentor speak. Inspires me for my own speeches. Now it is time to move on to the second portion of our meeting, which is the impromptu